round 5 of the ChampCar iRacing series, we head north of the border to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, or Mosport, a short but high-speed, super challenging racetrack with a lot of elevation change to go along with it. Hello and welcome to our live coverage of ChampCar's iRacing series, wherever you be watching the HJBC or on champcar.live. I'm David Haynes with Devin Peters and Michael Derby as we get ready to bring you all of the action from Mosport. And as is typical of the ChampCar iRacing series and our rotating cast of cars, we find ourselves in the Mazda MX-5 for round 5 of the championship. Devin, it's a great time for all of the races. We're getting into the swing of the calendar. There's a lot of great prizes on offer and a lot of great reasons to be racing on a Wednesday night with ChampCar on iRacing.
That's a great time to start. Anyone joining today is going to get their name entered into the $250 draw, provided they show up for the next 3 rounds. And they're also going to be competing for points today, of course. The winning driver of this year's ChampCar iRacing series is going to win 2,000 champ bucks towards their season-long efforts. It has been an exciting season so far. We just saw a heck of a battle over at Watkins Glen in the Enduro Series, and the Sprint Series has been pretty interesting as well. We've seen wins from, Martineau, Darling's got a pair. Who was the third one, Haynes?
Great question. I said it out loud earlier and I can't remember now.
Either way, it's been a competitive showing.
Would you believe me if I said Colin Lounsbury?
That sounds plausible. Yeah, I think he had a good one. Yeah, he had a really good one. I knew I was following him around for a reason. But no, it's been a really competitive season. And you know what? Of all those wonderful racers who we just named, none of them are leading the qualifying right now. It's Simon Foweather who's leading the qualifying. He's got a 1:32.3 as he drives up the big back straight, and you see him just ahead of the likes of Jared Collins and John Nicholford, who are trying to get a draft off of that speedy-looking red and white Miata.
This is a super high average speed circuit. We're just underneath 2.5 miles, but these Mazdas are lapping it in around 90 seconds for an average speed in Mazdas of 100 miles an hour. That's not bad, and a lot of that happens with fast flowing corners in the opening part of the lap. Turn 1, fearsome. Turn 2 as you are blind over the crest into a super committed and fast challenging corner. And then, of course, you've got a long back straight, the Andretti straight. And final sector also carries a lot of speed. Looking at Colin Lounsbury right here as he negotiates turn 1 at speed. 4th or 5th gear sort of through there. Just a tiny bit of speed lost over the top of the hill, but you're looking to carry a lot of it through this long corner and not get out wide into the grass or into the barriers. And it's Moss Corner at turns 5 and 6 that are the slowest part of the racetrack, and the only time you ever really get down into first gear. That's what you don't want to do through turn 3, is get out wide in the grass there.
Yeah, it's a simple looking silhouette of a track, but the way it winds through the hills and falls away and jumps up at you, it really is a track that challenges everyone who comes and visits.
The most astounding thing is, I believe, in IMSA competition for their prototypes, the average speed around a lap here is higher than Daytona.
I believe
Daytona's got 2 hairpins, we only got 1 here, so I want to believe it. It really is just sort of high average speed, fast corners most of the way around here. It's not a street circuit, it's not tight and fiddly chicanes, it's not 90-degree right-handers. There is a lot of ability to flow speed around here. That keeps the average speed high. It keeps the slipstreaming and the draft high, not just on that back straight, but almost anywhere that you're at full throttle around here. You're at high speed and you're gaining a little bit. It keeps the pack together. We'll see how that plays out in the 1-hour race coming up. Everyone will have to make 1 pit stop in that 1 hour. It's a pretty wide window as to when they may or may not, so we'll see about that. Time's still coming through in the qualifying here, and it's a little congested out there, so I'm not surprised to see drivers continue to find improvements. Andy Kosick of Most Mint Racing goes to 10th place.
Yeah, Cossack having a good little session for himself in that shiny blue car. We got DJ Alessandrini out here too. DJ wearing some unpopular branding, I would say, deeply unpopular branding, but a notable and speedy guy himself.
But he's racing in ChampCar today, so there you have it. Simon Foweather has that pole by just 0.03 of a second from DJ Alessandrini, the driver that we are looking at right now through this turn 2. Hardly a tap of the brakes there. You see the brake lights on for just a millisecond as you try to carry as much speed as possible downhill, gripping up in the middle of turn 2. This turn 3 seems pretty challenging if the car starts to push a little bit through the mid corner. It just keeps on going through the exit of the corner before it straightens up. So it's also a pretty high tire wear circuit around here as well. And I don't know if you've got the units of measurement that our viewers expect as far as the weather.
It's a pretty mild looking day. You know, it might be blowing 40 miles an hour over here on the prairies, but out east in Mosport land, it's 11 miles an hour wind from the northeast, 67 Fahrenheit, and looking like a fine, albeit chilly day for racing. And yeah, should be a good one. Overcast, but I think with any luck, the rain will hold off.
Now, with lots of drivers out there, as we've seen from a whole heap of different backgrounds, plenty of them associated with teams racing in the ChampCar Endurance Series, you might want to keep up with a particular driver, be it your friend, one of your teammates, whatever the situation, family. HJBC.live has the live timing, not just now in qualifying, but throughout the race as well. So if you want to keep up on all of that, that's the place to look.
Yeah, and we're keeping our eye on the timing screens too. It's Simon Foweather, DJ Alessandrini, Paul Darling, 2-time race winner, and Josh Soto running fourth. Soto came out last season and put on a heck of a performance at every race he showed up in. So it's going to be a bit of a star-studded grid out at the front this time around. And I'm just skimming through it. What we're seeing, a 5,500 iRating guy, a 4,100 iRating guy, lots of speed out there. 6,800 iRating guy, lots of speed at the front of this field tonight.
Johnny Sartorelli crosses the start-finish line there and improves his time. Goes from 26th to 25th though. And DJ Alessandrini's looking a 10th or so away from improving on this lap. And critically, he's getting no toe down that long back straight. Just we talked about high average speeds here. Paul Darling is, though, behind DJ Alessandrini, and he could be up through this final sector. It's a chance. Paul Darling stands a chance of improving onto the front row of the grid. These final 3 corners are a challenge because the circuit sort of goes from a 5th gear corner into a 4th gear corner into a 3rd gear corner, keeps tightening up, and Darling runs it just a little bit wide off that final corner. The checkered flag is out on qualifying, and he is not able to improve from 3rd place.
Yeah, lots of laps going on right there right now, but not a lot of purple sectors on the track. We're kind of searching around, watching. You can see through the final quarter that's Soto Giebler hitting the line, but no greens even out on track right now. So I think those tires are starting to lose their new, and I think that'll be a factor when we get to the race.
Mosport looking wonderful in this weather. It's mostly cloudy, but we did get the sun peek through for a little bit there before it gets blocked by the clouds for a bit. Can affect the track temperature, absolutely affects the grid. You spend a lot of time with steering lock in the car, slowing you up when the track is hotter, so you really do put a lot laterally through the tires around here. The checkered flag is furiously being waved at the start-finish line, and everyone is just wrapping up qualifying. Like Nick Love there, he looks like he's done. And that's turn 1, so the number 10 of Jared Kellman's will be done, as he's currently 5th in this qualifying. I think almost everyone has hit the checkered flag now. We are seeing a pole time of 92 seconds, so they do get around the laps here at Mosport in a hurry. They'll complete plenty within the 1 hour race shortly coming up. Logan Sennhauser, the Sennhauser Racing Team, is 20th at the moment. Is he going to practice his pit entry? He is, and of course that will be critical when we get to the pit window. But first, we got to go racing, and before we do that, we've got a grid, so let's take a look at it. That front row, Simon Foweather and DJ Alessandrini and Paul Darling and Joshua Soto are on row number 2. Joshua Soto looks like he snuck himself into 3rd very late on in that qualifying session, so a bit of an improvement from him there on the 2nd row. Jared Cullinans and Sean Fritz are row number 3. Row 4 is Gareth Nyland and Lincoln Fox. Cameron Martineau, already a race winner in the ChampCar iRacing series this year, starts out in 9th, alongside the best driver from Team Salins, Tim Wire. That's our top 10 of the Mazda MX-5s for the rolling start. The rows behind are Ian Giebler and Andy Cosick, Colin Lounsbury and Orlando Harrell, David Barkley and Nick Love alongside there, Neil Hancock and Mark Kruger, Brandon Renfro and Logan Sennhauser is the top 20. It is looking like a pretty competitive field, as well as having a little bit of depth to it, with Scott Grinnell, John Nicholford, Thomas Yankee, Steve Hermetz, potentially Canadian. We'll sort out a pronunciation on that one north of the border here. Johnny Sartorelli, Charles Kowalczyk, Bill Salen, Stephen Schaefer, Brandon West and Kevin San Diego have no qualifying times, but they still might grid potentially. We'll take a look. They're all on the start-finish line, ready for the full formation lap, 2.43 miles of Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And as you also look around the circuit, I think some of those parking areas and the grandstands have started to fill out from practice and qualifying to this race session.
Yeah, it's a busy time out at Mosport every time they come out here. Might not quite get the crowds for this race that you got for some classic Formula One racing. But
yeah, I saw some pictures from here in like the 60s and 70s, and every single awesome Canadian in the province of Ontario must have been here.
I think that's accurate. I've seen those pictures too.
Big times in not only Grand Prix racing, but sports car racing in Canada. It's about to be a big time in ChampCar iRacing series. There's our pace car, there's our grid, and they look beautiful. And they're going to get their formation lap underway right now. Already, the drivers are thinking about the cold tyres off of a race start and what their pit strategy might be. You can pit pretty early and fuel to get to the end in this race, but you could also run a bit longer in your first stint. You've got options. It's a quick, short pit lane here at Mosport as well. The delta is pretty short when it comes time to make your stop.
Yeah, it will be a short lane, and I do think that you're right about the tires being a factor here with the high average speed. Usually not the case in the Miatas, but with the updates that these cars have recently undergone to their tire model, of course, rain being added to this car as the most recent update, there is, I think, maybe an impact on those tires and on the behavior of their sort of lifespan. Not quite getting those endurance tires on these things, you know what I mean? Will also be interesting to see just how the drivers decide to play it on the first lap. We got plenty of pace out front. I think all the way out to 9th place within 0.6 of a second of each other. And of course, on a track like this with the big long straightaways, you'd expect a lot of drafting. So realistically, they're within a second out to about 15th place. That's easily made up in the draft. So I think staying in line, staying patient, and timing the overtake at the right moment will be kind of critical if you want to have a win at today's race.
60 minutes of racing begins when the green flag drops. Almost 30 Mazdas on the grid. Paul Darling, no, someone else ended up a little bit out of position and have just gotten back to their grid slot. It would have been Tim Wire on the 5th row there in the Team Salen's car. I think we're all in order now, ready to go. And even at this pace car speed, we're most of the way around the formation lap. They are going to be so quick in race trim. They're shifting down the gears, getting the revs up, ready to go racing. And it's Simon Foweather who has the inside of the front row to send us racing. He's backing the field up a little bit as we come through this final sequence of 3 corners. Pit entry on the right is where the pace car has gone. Barney has the green flag at the start line at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, ready to send the ChampCar iRacing Series racing in round 5. We are live, we are green, and racing in Canada in the ChampCar iRacing Series. Simon Foweather leads the front of the field, single file through turn 1, but the tyres are still cold. The cars will be a little sketchy for this opening part of the lap. You don't want to make a mistake early with 60 minutes of racing still to go. Through turn 2 we go tidy up front, but DJ Alessandrini is all over Simon Foweather for the race lead. Joshua Soto is feeling some pressure from Paul Darling, who he just pipped in qualifying very late in the session.
Yeah, it's a battle pack from front to back, and they're starting to make it single file, but even deep in the pack, they're 2-3 wide, and look like they're having a good time of it. But away clean and not a single car touching the dirt. That's what you'd expect of a bunch of strong drivers like you get in a Champ Car field. I don't know if you can say the same about a grid life field, Nates.
There's no need to, shade or throw hate. We're all doing our own thing, and hopefully we're doing the ChampCar iRacing Series well this year. They've made their way through Moss, the biggest braking zone and the slowest corner on the racetrack. Then it's all about your drive off of there onto the back straight here. The slipstream so critical, and that's where Simon Foweather loses the race lead. DJ Alessandrini gets to the inside. Joshua Soto slipstreams off of him, and Foweather drops 2 spots back into 3rd. Alessandrini and Soto going up into 1st and 2nd, and the field is still so close behind them with all of that slipstreaming, a little bit of bump drafting happening on the back straight on the opening lap. It's 1 lap complete at Mosport, and DJ Alessandrini takes the race lead.
Yeah, nicely executed move up the back straightaway there, getting that draft and making it work just perfectly, and pretty clean all the way through the field still. Lots of overtakes for position. Our biggest mover through lap 1, only 2 spots up, but that's Nick Love, and he's about 14th place right now. So the back of the shot you were just looking at.
Yep, it looks like it's kind of all about our top 10, maybe even our top 8 at the moment. Some positions trading here potentially. Colin Lounsbury already a race winner this season in the front-wheel drive Renault Clio, is side-by-side with Andy Kosick. Track goes to the left, but you want to be on the right-hand side for the braking zone. Coming up to the tabletop section, the top of the hill here, still a little bit of cheeky side-by-side. Andy Kosick looking to go round the outside, but what it does is it creates a bit of a gap between them and the top 10, top 11. You now see almost 1.5 seconds from Andy Kosick to Ian Giebler in 11th. Are those guys he's just been battling that hard going to want to work with him to push him up towards the front of the field? We'll wait and see. Joshua Soto looks like he's pushing DJ Alessandrini in the race lead, creates a couple of car lengths to Simon Foweather in 3rd. Paul Darling still sitting in the 4th place there. Not a lot of other positions inside of the top 10 changing. Those guys seeing, if the race lead's not getting away from me, I don't need to do anything too crazy, but we do get side by side through there.
That was Sean Fritz making a nice move up the inside of Gareth Nyland there for what was 6th place at the time. Really clean look, and then they just had a little touch at the apex. But Sean Fritz, new to the series, first timer out here, and already getting the elbows out a little bit, staking his claim to the inside of that corner.
Yes, indeed. So we're seeing a little bit of action happen through the midfield here. Martineau looking to come back to a late apex. His rival, Fritz, pushing a little wide through the exit there. And this is one of those races, I feel like, where you'll be looking at how many cars are in the lead pack, and as we go on, some of them begin to drop away. It's looking like a leading 5 cars right now after all of that. Oh, and a big slide across the top of the hill. That does no good for your traction off of that corner on towards the back straight. Again, Fritz is going to be under all sorts of pressure from Martineau and Gareth Nyland.
And Martineau knows what he needs to do to win, and he thinks it's getting back in contact with that front pack right now, I think. So he's getting a big push from Gareth Nyland up the hill here, and we'll see. It looks like Sean Fritz is going to jump back in behind. Hey, we want a little bit of Canadian fun fact there?
Yes, please.
Fritz, that's French for French fries.
Yes,
Fritz.
I was gonna say, does he have a brother Pom? But so a bit of drama elsewhere in the field. This is Andy Kosick and Nick Love, and those two know each other pretty well, I think. Nick Love ends up spinning around through Moss there, as once again Andy Kosick likes the outside line through turns 5 and 6, depending on how you number them around here. We're picking up speed as we go. DJ Alessandrini just setting the fastest lap of the race once again. He's got Joshua Soto a couple of car lengths back now in front of Simon Foweather. Cameron Martineau has been the winner to make a couple of spots inside of the top 10. He's gotten past Lincoln Fox, Sean Fritz, and Gareth Nyland to run in 6th place now, hoping to pull this group of drivers back up towards that leading group with DJ Alessandrini and not let your race leader get away. I think he's done a very, very good job of that. He's right with Jared Cullinans now.
Yeah, this front group's been doing a really good job of kind of holding it together, but also doing a really good job of kind of making it hard to overtake, despite the fact that you got this big old draft up the back straight.
And with knowledge of that, DJ Alessandrini was sort of moving them one side of the racetrack to the other, Indy 500 style there, and just trying to keep Soto a couple car lengths back if possible. And there is a surge coming. If anyone behind the race leader wants to do a little bit of bump drafting, no way Alessandrini can get away from that, but it's working out in the heat of battle like this, between the green flag and the checkered flag, who you want to work with or to strategize with, that's where it becomes difficult. See Cameron Martineau picking up the fastest lap of the race there.
And our first pit taker is Andy Kosick hitting the lane. I think this is probably still too early. Then again, it's an uncapped fuel tank, so maybe he gets through to the end of the race. But an early stop for him, certainly. And for those who don't know, the ChampCar iRacing series runs with a fixed setup, but an uncapped fuel tank. So they started with 6.3 gallons each, and they can stop early, they can start late. So lots of room for different pit strategies. Will be interesting to see if anyone decides to do, kind of the alternate, do the early stop and see if it can work.
So it's a race of your top 8 at the moment. Look at them all in a line down the Andretti straight. 9th and 10th is Lincoln Fox and Ian Giebler, and they don't want to get left behind as the express train sails or motors or whatever. So that's this group of cars we're looking at here. Then 2.5 seconds to Tim Wire in 11th, and Colin Lounsbury's in 12th there. David Barkley and Orlando Harrell. Harrell's going to look to the inside at the end of the back straight. It's not really a braking zone here, though. You don't see the brake lights around the outside because you can carry so much speed there. It's only here into the final 2 corners that you really need to brake. Barkley runs super, super wide there. And Orlando Harrell's going to switch back out of the final corner if possible. And these two continue to battle for positions here, 13th and 14th.
We'll move up the inside there. We're watching on the screen. That's the 46 car holding off. Was that 46? Did I catch that right? Anyway, holding off the likes of... no, I haven't got it. David Barkley holding off the likes of Orlando Harrell. That's what it was. Sorry, I just reset my paints on Trading Paints, so all the cars were white on my screen. Either way, there's been racing kind of like that all the way up and down the field. There's not a ton of good passing opportunities here at Mosport, but there is a few. And when you get alongside, there's a little bit of action. Orlando Harrell's involved in a little bit of it as David Barkley got it wrong and is backing off the track. Luckily for him, I was going to say you can see pretty well what's going on, but unfortunately for him, he had to tow it all the way back to the pits, I guess.
Take a look. I think he just gets a tiny bit of that dirt. So easy to do. You can't see the track limits as you turn in. And so when you want to open it up between those two tight apexes across the top of the hill, Sometimes you just get a little bit wide, just get a little bit of dirt, and you end up in some trouble. My driver to watch inside the top 10, I think, remains Cameron Martineau, because he has done an absolutely perfect job bringing the rest of the 6th through to 10th back up towards the top 5. I think he still has the fastest lap of the race potentially, so he's had really good pace. He's positioned himself well, timed his runs well. He's already a race winner in ChampCar iRacing Series this year. He started out of 9th, he's now 6th, and within definitely a literal stone's throw of the race lead. He's in 6th place, only 1.5 seconds away from the race lead.
It's a pretty paint job he's got on that thing too. I kind of like what he's doing with it.
Yeah, he's doing the Starry Night. He had it on the GR86, I think.
That must be what it is.
I've got it on the Mazda. And there is no higher art than Mazda pack racing.
That's absolutely right. Colin's looking pretty good here, though. He's got.
I don't know what's on the helmet, though.
I think our producer was trying to undercut our estimation of his art. Maybe that's just a Van Gogh, you know. Maybe that's his face put on it. Either way, he makes a move up the inside here. He's looking from behind. That's Martineau, and Martineau knows how to win a race. He's making the move on the inside here. Got to hold it around the left-hander here, and that's really the trick. But he does, and he'll have the inside line going into the final corner, and he gets that move done before the apex. And it looks like that's Nyland going up the inside as well.
So having defended it, now Jared Cullinans has lost the spot to Martineau. He's around the outside at turn 1. Not a big braking zone here, but once a few of them get a sniff, a lot of them get a sniff here. And Jared Cullinans now behind Gareth Nyland, with Sean Fritz having a bit of a look as well before they got towards turn 2.
That was a close moment from Fritz there. Just sheets of paper between the bumpers at a very critical, loaded moment in the corner, but nicely done. Looks like up ahead, that's Foweather trying to make a move, and he does, up around the outside of Josh Soto. Soto manages to hold off Paul Darling as they head down into the Moss corner here.
A lot of great pack racing going on at a racing circuit that we pointed out has a very high average speed. Almost 100 miles an hour, your average speed around a lap here in a Mazda. Of course, higher in faster cars. It really is a lot of time spent, third gear, fourth gear, accelerating down long straights, all of that. And you can see with this long straight here, DJ Alessandrini's leading them one side of the race course, leading them the other, because Simon Foweather is back into second place. Joshua Soto is back into third. So a bit of change going on here. And I think Alessandrini didn't mind having Soto behind. Soto, I think, pushed Alessandrini a couple times, didn't really challenge for the race lead, was just thinking, let's get to that pit stop window. We can battle harder later on in this race. With a toe this strong at these high speeds, you're going nowhere. So I can play the long game here, but Simon Foweather might not play that game that way. There's a couple of packs going on through the field. 10 cars for the race lead here. I think I see 6 cars for 13th place that Orlando Herald is leading at the moment. Logan Senhauser and John Nicholford are 2 drivers, both up 5 positions, and they're in that pack. So Senhauser moving up through the field, Nicholford moving up through the field here. Charles Kowalczyk also in a group of 3 cars over 19th place. This is what you love to see at a track like this. Great battle for the lead, but a great battle for everyone, everywhere in the field. Fun for all ages and skills.
Exactly. And really emblematic of what you get when you go out for a ChampCar race too. It must be said. And I'm watching that battle from 13th back and enjoying watching Senhauser driving around. He drives an NB Miata normally, but I think he's probably enjoying himself third in line in that ND Miata.
Just gonna check my Twitch really quickly. Is Logie Bear live?
Oh yes.
Not sure.
Maybe not. We'll have to go see.
No, DJ Logie Bear is not, unfortunately. So you'll have to keep watching on HJBC or ChampCar Live to see how he goes.
That front pack is really glued together, though. And as you were commenting on Alessandrini kind of holding the lead, I do have to wonder. He doesn't come out for a lot of races. The fuel stop is really important in the Champ Car series. So making sure you hold on to every last little fume that you can in that tank is key. And you might almost give the advantage at this point in the race to a guy like Collins or Fritz, who's hiding at the back of that pack, just because they're going to be lifting all over the place on a track like this.
Yeah, you got to think about drivers like Paul Darling in fourth, who's basically been in fourth place every lap since the start here. You've got, I mean, Lincoln Fox and Ian Giebler had to work a bit to get back towards the top 10. But in any group like this, there's always one group member doing a little bit less work than the rest. So I think that could be Paul Darling. Jared Coleman seemed pretty aggressive trying to defend his positions, and it didn't work as Martineau and Nyland got past. So who knows? But we're going to see some moves on the back straight here for second place. Paul Darling, is he thinking about the third lane? He's not pushing Josh Soto. Soto's trying to get ahead of Foweather, and a few of them will here. Foweather gets a little hung out to dry. So Darling through, Martineau side by side with Simon Foweather through this change of direction through the final three corners, trying to do the same move that he stuck earlier on Cullinan's. Cameron Martineau can't go round the outside of the penultimate corner on Simon Foweather. Foweather runs in fourth.
It's good stuff out there right now, and I am curious to see if Foweather, how he recovers here, because we've seen him lead races, we've seen him go deep into races in the lead, but we have seen him struggle a little bit at different points and struggle to put together a full race. So will we see our fast qualifier manage to right the ship and get back to the front of the pack? We'll see. This is Miata racing. It does happen that a guy gets shuffled back and goes back forward outside of Cameron Martineau. That's what car is that? That's Gareth Nyland diving up the inside. Nicely done.
Yes, indeed. So a much better run off of turn 3, which, like we say, just keeps going on and on and on the exit. So it's tough to work out when to pick up the throttle in that corner. Sometimes you do it too early, you end up a little bit wide, you need to get out of it again. So Nyland got a good run there, kept it flat coming down the hill, had the inside into the braking zone. Cameron Martin either saw God or common sense and went, all right, you're alongside, you're a little bit ahead, you're on the inside. I'll drop back into the 6th place right now.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to be, remember that there's still 40 minutes on the clock, right?
Yeah, and a pit stop, and it means lots and lots of laps to go. We've completed 11 racing laps now, with a big compliment still to come. There will be plenty of opportunity. If you think, oh, my best opportunity is down the end of the back straight, well, good news. You are going to go down that back straight a lot of times in a 1-hour race at a short circuit like this, 2.4 miles at high average speed. Foweather might lose another one. Nyland's getting aggressive, but Foweather will still have a chance at the inside into turn 3. Nyland is ahead, comes across, now running 4th place. Biggest mover inside of this top 10, equal with Cameron Martineau, but Nyland further up the road than Martineau at the moment.
Yeah, and this lead pack is really holding it together. We got 10 cars that are within just a few seconds of each other, 3 seconds front to back, and it's going to be spicy if this keeps it up. Those pit stops are going to be critical, and the battle at the end of this race is going to be something.
The DJ Alessandrini has his finger on the fader as he goes left channel to right channel in the mix. So he's still thinking tactically, even if he has been the locomotive of the train most of the laps so far. Paul Darling makes that move into 2nd place, though, so he's no longer just sitting in 4th. Darling to 2nd place ahead of Joshua Soto. Nyland in 4th and Simon Foweather in 5th. You wonder when we get to the pit stops, if one driver pits, do they all go? Or I don't see myself being in this top 10 in like Sean Fritz, Lincoln Fox, or Ian Giebler's position, thinking that I'm going to undercut anyone in this pack by stopping earlier than them.
That was a weird moment from Collins there. He just dived left. I think he caught the exit curb a little bit and it pulled him out. Yeah, sure enough, he did. And honestly, that was a hell of a save coming out of turn one. I wonder if we can get a replay of that because that car wanted to turn into the outside wall. Get a glimpse of it here. So he just, regular line through turn one, you get to throttle half a second, not even 0.2 of a second early. And you almost can't see it from this angle, but he clips the outside of the curb, wiggles 2 tires in the dirt, and saves it. You don't get a lot of those there.
Darling's been off the road as well at Moss Corner. So from second place, he carried too much speed in there. We've seen others do it before. You just get a little bit of the dirt. He gets a bit of a slide. It's a good save. It drops him, from the front of the pack. But yeah, okay. I heard a bit of Eurobeat through that.
Yeah. Hey, if you're thinking these guys are just driving these Miatas around, let me tell you, they're pushing the hell out of them right now. These are fast laps getting clicked off at the front of the field, and they're working for every bit of pace and position they can hold on to right now.
Pole was a 132.3. Gareth Nyland's rolling in the 132s right now. And Lincoln Fox at a 132.996. So, yeah, we're pretty close to that pole time right now in these conditions here, running super quick. And it shows because the top 10 are dropping everyone else, like Tim Wire, like Colin Lounsbury, and even a chance at dropping Ian Giebler if he's not careful. So, despite running well in the 11th spot there, Tim Wire is seeing the race lead and the leading pack get further and further away from his Team Salen's Miata.
Yeah, it's hard work for Giebler back there. You can just see him at the back of the shot. And oftentimes Giebler is one of our guys running up near the front, but this front pack is stout today.
Looking backwards from the race leader, he goes left, he goes right. Are we going to get back left again? We're sure going to give it a go. This is the race leader, leading a pack of Gareth Nyland, Joshua Soto, Simon Fowether, and Cameron Martineau as your top 5.
Yeah, might as well keep it going. Darling, Collins, Fox, Fritz, and Giebler out the 10th. Our actually biggest gainer of the race is Logan Sennhauser, and he's making a move right now up the back straight. He's 2 wide with that's Mark Kruger on the outside, and he took a look, did Sennhauser, but unfortunately for him, Harrell went with Kruger on the outside and didn't give Sennhauser a chance to take that spot. So his 6 positions gained remains 6 and doesn't tick over to 7, but it's been a good race for him.
And the highest running Club Canada driver, John Nicholford's dropped 1, so he's at the back of this pack here in 18th, having started in 22nd. But you're always a chance to gain some positions from where he is right now. 5 cars just in front of him that he can either pass in the back half of the race or out-strategize or whatever. A lot of drivers with a great chance of gaining some spots. John Nicholford, one of them, just behind Neil Hancock, Brandon Renfro, Orlando Harrell, Logan Sennhauser, and Mark Kruger, as we pointed out. Oh, and he fancies one right now already, as that's a bit wide from Hancock, and Nicholford gets down the inside of turn 3.
A good little battle in here, and you can see it's everywhere in this field right now. The leaders are honestly keeping it kind of in control. Nice straight lines between them. Meanwhile, deep in the pack, Sennhauser's fighting for his life, and Nick Love too.
Oh yeah, no, it's all on throughout the field, so you can see some different generations of Love Racing paint scheme there. The score is currently 2 Love for 19th and 20th position.
You're a monster. Well done though. Nick Love trying to show his teammate the what for. Is this team orders, Haynes? That's the real question.
There's always 2 ways to think about this, right? Okay, do you need to help Mr. Love along, or is it bragging rights to get one up over him? So Nick Love at the moment is ahead of his teammate Charles Kowalczyk. Scott Grinnell's there 21st. Can't remember if he was in the YouTube thumbnail or just in some of the other promotional stuff I put together, but he did the practice a week ago. And then Steve Heme Hermdog, Hermsit Crab is in 22nd just there. In the
Yeah,
rather spicy paint scheme.
I think I'd go with a Hermits there. I think I'd support you. If there's no Zed, maybe. Oh, and Kowalczyk has a little wiggle under brakes, and that pushes Scott Grinnell wide, and that might be the first car we've seen have a legit moment at Clayton Corner there.
Well, we'll check in with it. It's around the outside, yeah.
Yeah, it was sketchy there. Kowalczyk just sometimes when you break up the inside, your car wiggles, and wiggle it did, and that was enough to push the likes of Grinnell out.
Luckily, the iRacing grass isn't as slippery as it used to be back in the day, because there was a while where half an inch of grass there would send you straight into the barrier, no chance of slowing or turning. It certainly costs you time now, but it's not quite as lethal oil slick as it once was. And so with 29 drivers who started the race, 27 are still running, 26 of them on the lead lap before we get to these pit stops. So I guess that's probably a welcome improvement there for Scott Grinnell and some of the others who've been off-roading to sure, be off the track, lose some time, but not end up all the way out in the concrete or the tyre barriers. So when we do get to the pit stops, this top 10 is going to get very, very interesting, because the question is it now just a top 8?
Yeah, they've almost dropped Sean Fritz off the back. And Fritz has been struggling, trying to keep up. He and Giebler there are kind of in a twosome, trying to make their way back into contact with that top 8. But almost 2 seconds between them, and 2 seconds is enough to break a draft.
You won't realize how much you're benefiting from being in the pack, going with the slipstream and the tow until you're not in it. You know, you're like, oh, suddenly this is tough sledding. It's hard work. It's tough pedaling. So, yeah, they'll realize, DJ Alessandrini is obviously incredibly experienced and pacey in these cars. It's all he races, and he races it a lot, so it would seem. So he's been leading this pack very, very well at some high average speeds. No one pits just yet. And for high average speed, it's surprisingly not high fuel consumption, because you're sort of off throttle, half throttle through. So there's turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 stuff here. There's a lot of time you're carrying speed, but not carrying throttle.
Yeah, you spend a lot of time just kind of maxing out the mechanical grip here. We're getting a little spicy up at the front. That's Soto looking around Nyland.
Yeah, Nyland was really shallow on the way in. Yeah. Soto came for a late apex, carrying some speed here for sure. It's a tough and dangerous place to go side by side downhill. There's a couple of bumps there, and I think Soto, when I'm not far enough alongside to challenge for this position, I'll just set myself up well through this group of corners if I can. 2.5 seconds covers your top 8, and that's how these Mazdas like to race. So it's going well. They're not far enough back for Alessandrini, the race leader, to weave too much this time around. So Nyland and Martineau get closer. You come over that little hill, you go back downhill, and the draft kicks in. Middle of the road, Alessandrini is going to get swamped to his left, to his right. Here he is, stuck in the middle. Gareth Nyland from the tight line, tight turn in, has the race lead just for a second, but then from around the outside, carrying speed, Joshua Soto will try to fight for it. And you have some pit takers, Alessandrini and Paul Darling, head to pit lane as the battle kicks off for the race lead.
Oh, that was some interesting moves, but I guess as soon as you lose the lead, why keep holding it? We got Alessandrini and Darling taking those first stops.
Sennhauser and Herrell have had an accident as well, so a very dramatic 1 minute at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Some tyres going on to our race leaders, but here's what happened. On the back straight, Sennhauser, Herrell looks to pull out while he's being pushed by Mark Kruger, and it spears him sideways, and it collects a couple.
Yeah, it was one of those triple draft trains, and it's tough to do in real life, but it's even tougher once you add 0.4 seconds of delay to your internet connection. Yeah, Nicholford had nowhere to go. Thankfully, they're virtual cars, because that would have been a test of the Hans device, that's for sure.
Went from O Canada to O Canada. in that case. A lot of them will get back out into the race, but it is costly time-wise, as you see Nicholford, Sennhauser, and now Orlando Herald on pit road, getting their repairs, getting their fuel, not taking any tyres, though we did see some of the leaders think about that. The race leaders are back around again towards the pit entry, so Gareth Nyland leading Joshua Soto, Cameron Martineau. If you've seen DJ Alessandrini pit, I would consider reacting to that. So as they approach pit entry, we'll see who goes. Nyland and Soto. Martineau stays out. Foweather and Fox come in, and Jared Collins also stays out.
I have a report here from the pit lane. Alessandrini's gone. So we got the whole leading group in, but oh geez, and yeah, sure enough, both Alessandrini and Darling dropped and not quit, disconnected due to bad internet. So that's brutal.
Are they both at the same time? Have they got the same ISP? They are supplied by the same substation? But yeah, we've lost Alessandrini and Paul Darling. Both of them are going to try to rejoin the race, or at least DJ Alessandrini is, but it means that the highest running car to have stopped is Joshua Soto from Simon Foweather and Gareth Nyland, and the car currently leading the race, yet to stop, is Cameron Martineau with Jared Collins.
Brutal. Yeah, and Darling's just reconnected too, but I think they've both gone down a lap. And
I heard Alessandrini just then, not his internet or his power, it was the software on his computer that crashed. So potentially a little iRacing problem there.
We call that a mechanical in the iRacing world. That's steering shaft disconnects, or brake line develops a leak, or radiator gets smacked.
Some more on pit lane here. Cameron Martineau and Ian Giebler are in. There's some rejoining the race. Taking a look at Martineau and Giebler, and they are taking fuel only at this stop. Things looking okay for them. And their key rival, of course, right now is Joshua Soto, stopping a lap earlier. He's coming out of the final corner at speed towards turn 1. Cameron Martineau heading towards the pit exit. I think he might be ahead here. He'll definitely be ahead out of turn 1. It's whether he's ahead into turn 2. I think he's got this. He'll pick up speed through turn 2, and he will be the race leader once everyone makes their pit stop.
Okay, so interesting factor here. Collins hasn't pitted yet, was running in the top 8, is now on track behind Paul Darling, who, with the crash, came out of the pits pretty late. So he actually has a pretty fast running buddy to draft off of, depending on how long he can push this pit window. So let's not write Collins off just yet, but I think I agree with you.
Yeah, this could be a good in-lap for Collins, like you point out. Nice little toe down the back straight here. And now he's gonna stay out, so he's looking to run long. So Collins still officially the race leader right now until he pits. He's got 32 seconds to Cameron Martineau, and pit lane transit with the stop and the fuel is looking a little more than that. So Neil Hancock hasn't stopped yet, and he's just ahead of Cameron Martineau. So that could be a problem for Martineau if he doesn't clear quickly, and it's letting Joshua Soto close in as well.
Martineau having to clear some lap traffic here. That's Hancock on the inside. Tough to get out of the way around here.
Yeah, so Martineau goes around the outside. Soto wasn't quite sure what he was going to do until he eventually worked it out. Simon Foweather's closing in the background as well. So bit by bit after these pit stops, the gang starts to come back together. And Simon Foweather can smell the race lead once again. It's a bit of a slide through there. It's officially mostly cloudy, but the sun's definitely out right now. Track temperature is climbing, and you talk about the constant mechanical loading, particularly on the left side tires around here. They begin to wear out. The track's getting a little hotter, a little slicker. Jared Collins pits from the race lead. We'll see who else follows him in. But we might almost have everyone making their pit stop soon. Colin Lounsbury ain't going to pit, so he will go through the race lead for just a second.
Yeah, he wants his turn running around the front, and it looks like Renfro's decided to keep going too. Pit cycles around here are always a little bit interesting because of the wide variety of strategies that are possible.
Trying to work out what pattern Renfro's trying to have there with these faux hood scoops.
Yeah, I'm
something
not
behind
sure.
the front wheels as well.
Yeah.
It's almost Spec Racer Ford.
He's got the cutouts, you know. We did that on our ChampCar, you know.
Yeah.
Weld the doors shut and punch them into the frame rail and then move the frame. Well, I guess not frame, body at that point in a little bit too. Hand tool, sir.
There you have it.
So, with this all shaken out, it looks like Soto and Martineau.
Soto's ahead as well.
Yeah, holding on to 1-2.
So Soto's passed, and then Simon Foweather's just behind.
Yeah, Hancock is 4th, Nyland 5th, and then is that Nick Love hasn't stopped yet, so it's Lincoln Fox 6th, and then we're looking at the Collins Nicholford battle. So big variety of pit stops there. But I think our top 3 is going to be Soto, Martineau, Foweather. I think that's going to be our battle.
Colin Lounsbury there. He's going long for sure. Still officially leading the race.
Yeah, he might still have something to say about this, but last time by was a 34-1, so the lack of a draft is hurting his prospects, you got to think. And Fritz is out there and lapping, but he took nearly 10 extra seconds of fuel, maybe tires. So that could be impacting him too. Hard to say.
I mean, Nyland's the quickest car on the track last lap, though.
Yeah.
So if he did take tyres, they would be working. And as I was pointing out earlier with the weather conditions, the atmospheric conditions, well, that's not great.
Yeah.
For Gareth Nyland there. But, yeah, we're getting into more degradation, higher degradation conditions, slicker conditions, where the tyres could wear quicker, new tyres could be a larger advantage, a bigger pace delta. Most didn't take it, and that's normally the way to go, because normally you think that the new tyres are cold, they're tough to bring in, you lose too much time on the outlap, you never get it back, you lose track position, it's difficult to come back from there. Lounsbury from the race lead is on pit lane.
I'm not going to lie, that was an early slow. He came in and he got down to pit lane speed well before the cone, so I think that'll have impacted him. We'll see how it shakes out, but that was a tough moment for him. He's up on 2 tires while Josh Soto comes by.
Pit speed limit 35 miles an hour at Mosport.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've just seen Scott Grinnell's pit entry, and he's done exactly what you've described. Perhaps not practiced it quite enough in practice and qualifying to really attack it in these race conditions.
Hey, you got to run a whole race to win out here in the ChampCar iRacing Series. It's tricky from start to finish. Lots of fast guys, lots of guys that know exactly what they're doing, and always a few guys participating in that practice race the week before too, getting a little bit of the hot tips, figuring out exactly how many fumes they need to get across the line. Martineau and Soto definitely got that right. Those two running 1-2. Fairweather's, by the looks of things, 3.5 seconds back, 3 seconds back, entering the straight. He'll be hoping, like anything, that Nyland catches up and they can start pushing to get to the front.
Yep, you're going to need a friend and a buddy, I think, if you're going to catch Joshua Soto and Cameron Martineau individually, two super rapid drivers. So Martineau, a race winner already this season, perhaps leading the championship, depending on exactly how you calculate it. And Joshua Soto, reigning ChampCar iRacing Series champion as well. So, I mean, this is the creme de la creme, as they say in Canada, here in first and second right now.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of lap traffic around them. They got Brandon West filtering out of the pits right there, and then just ahead of them, Steven Schaefer will be the next lap car they come up on. Schaefer still running on the lead lap at this point, but having a decent little race for himself, up to 7 spots. Pennsylvania guy.
My German teacher in 2007 was Herr Schaefer. So half of the time he spent teaching, half of the time he put on those DVDs of that Austrian police dog.
I feel like I would not have done my duty if I did not tell you that Steven Schaefer's nickname is Thunder.
Oh, that's good.
That's a good one. And a good buddy of Bill Salen's too.
I wouldn't want to be thunderstruck.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with his controversial take that the best real world car that he's driven is a 2023 Harley Davidson CVO because four wheels, sir.
Good to know. So let's recap. You've only got Nick Love and Charles Kowalczyk who haven't stopped yet. So Love racing, more like go long racing, potentially. Here comes Nick Love. How do you rate that pit entry? Not bad?
That was 8.5 out of 10.
Fair enough. Good call. And so it means that our top 10 on the graphics... Oh, don't show Kowalczyk's. That's like a 2 out of 10. Man. Yeah, Joshua Soto, Cameron Martineau, Simon Fairweather, Gareth Nyland, Lincoln Fox, Ian Giebler, Jared Collins, Sean Fritz have all stopped, and Tim Wyer gets inside of the top 10 now as Love and Kowalczyk take their fuel.
Yeah, you can't underrate the points racing element to all this. Not everyone's been here since the first round, but a lot of people have. And keeping your name in contention for that Champ Buck prize, that free race prize, a serious consideration for a lot of these folks who either are trying to turn their virtual skills into real world racing experience or just trying to, make their next trip to the track a little bit cheaper too.
So we're going to have a look here at Gareth Nyland getting past Simon Fairweather, and it's because Fairweather had a little bit of a slide, ran a bit wide there, had a wiggle on the exit. Not looking like Fairweather had a whole lot of traction. Meanwhile, Gareth Nyland looks like he's made of it. He's equaling the race-leading pace, but he is 5 seconds behind Joshua Soto and Cameron Martineau. A few of the shots we've seen, those two bump drafting down the back straight as well, and that sort of working together, increasing their pace together, makes them very, very difficult for even the most talented of drivers with the most fresh tyres underneath them to close down 5 seconds.
Yeah, Fairweather struggling a little bit as well, just bumping around, hitting the grass here and there. Got to keep that precision through the late phase of the race here. 15 minutes to go. And Nyland will be praying that Fairweather can get to his bumper and give him a push.
I heard someone spin out and there's smoke in the air, but I cannot tell you for the life of me who, what, where, or why.
Oh shucks! It was. It looks like it was Schaefer. Had a little incident. Must have been thinking about his Harley Davidson. And we'll see it here.
Well, it was on the way into Moss.
Yeah, as he's coming into Moss, I guess he didn't spin it. He just, we'll see it here. He gets deep under the brakes, runs it a little bit wide, kind of that classic Moss miss, and then slides it out into the dirt. But does a good job of catching it, must be said.
Okay. A few drivers, the car of course gets light as you crest on the way into there, and can be challenging, can get the car a bit light. My timing is guessing 11 more laps to go in this race. And Joshua Soto leads, Cameron Martineau, Gareth Nyland leads, Simon Foweather, Lincoln Fox in the 5th position at the moment. And then is that Sean Fritz maybe catching Jared Collins just a little bit as well.
I'm kind of glancing at the front. Soto just driving it back end first through Moss that time. Just deep on the brakes. Martineau's right on his rear bumper though. Another factor, these guys had, their fuel consumption measured with a significant draft all the way through the first stint. Martineau took a little bit less than Soto. Wonder if that comes into play in this second half.
Take a look at this. No brake lights into the corner at the end of the straight. Just lift the throttle a little bit, turn it in, keep your line, and then have to brake for the next 2 corners as you drop a little bit of speed at the end of the lap. So yeah, we'll wait and see. They cross the start-finish line, and it's lap times in the 133.3s. Gareth Nyland 133.6 with Simon Foweather just behind.
They did have a little bit of lap traffic that time, but that's for your no brakes into the final corner. That's what a scrub radius is for, David Haynes. You just turn in, you let it go away.
Yep, that could work.
Oh, Foweather's getting wide here.
He
Gets
sure
that
did.
rear tire on the dirt, and yeah, definitely lost a little bit of drive with that. Martineau and Soto are really putting on a clinic. We need to see if we can get a shot of them through Moss next time, because that is about as good as you can do it.
How would you rate how Mark Kruger just did it?
I'll have to go back and check the replay for that. Oh, yeah, it looks like maybe we're going to give that a 4.5. Attempted, not executed. And we'll see what happens if you get it a little bit looser than Soto and Martineau does here. He bumps a little, hits the brakes, and as that rear tire gets onto the rumble strips, that car's not coming back around. Luckily, he only broke the vanity plate, and those are cheap. I know from experience. You replace those ones for $150. A little bit of elbow grease.
Doesn't appear to have got too much damage out of it. You're right. Some of that I think he was already carrying, especially on the front. I'm not sure about. But Mark Kruger runs 22nd place at the moment. So I think he got passed by Brandon West when that happened. These are your race leaders again as they approach Moss. So let's have a little bit of a look. Yeah, a bit of slip angle, get a little bit of that final apex for Cameron Martineau. Not sure he wanted that much exit curb, typically, but
I think they must have heard we were looking, because it wasn't all that time around. I'll be honest, but it's pretty good the last few times. And things have cooled down a little bit here at Mosport. We're 10 minutes to go. There's 2 guys duking it out for the lead, 2 guys duking it out for the last step on the podium, and a lot of little battles around the track after the pit stops shook everything up.
through the end, a little bit of the lap here. Challenging sequence of corners there as you shed speed, then also try to make sure you get back to a good line to turn in for the next apex, and then for the next apex, and then set up your next lap.
Some really good finishes in the Pinty series there. I don't know if you've ever seen a couple of NASCARs wrecking each other on the final corner.
I've seen Truck Series here.
Yeah.
That was brutal. I don't know if
entertaining.
What do they call them now? Are they back to being Craftsman Truck Series? Anyway, yeah, they used to or still do race here. Oh, I sure love a little bit of Xfinity racing at Portland. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we got better stuff at the. We got better stuff here than they do in Detroit. That's for sure. Better racing, that is.
Belle Isle is beautiful. What they've done is a bit of an embarrassment. I'll go out on a limb there of my hot take. Well, no one else is saying it, so I'll say it. I don't think the new Detroit street circuit's that good. So controversial of me, that opinion.
Legitimate race in there. Sean Fritz taking a nice line through Moss that time, showing off how to do it right. And he's holding off the likes of Collins and Nicholford as those folks are battling over just the front half of the top. I guess 6th, 7th, and 8th. How about that?
Nicholford is a lap down, but here we go.
You know, they're battling. They're having fun.
So close at the end of the straight here. There's a chance that Fritz is saving a little bit, perhaps. But it is really powerful toe down the end of the straight there, though. So could just be the effect of the way that they turn into the final corner and the speed that they get as you get close to the limiter at the end of the long straight.
Arno is just stacking the pressure on Soto right now. It's just all over the bumper as they're going through Clayton and Quebec there. Yeah, that's good stuff that time. The gap between the first two and the next two is getting wider. It's up to 7.5 seconds now. So I do think that Soto and Martineau have enough in the tank to keep the other two behind. And Martineau is keeping Soto honest, not letting him drop behind, and crucially, staying very, very close. I think timing out that run a little bit.
I don't think Soto can count on Martineau's cooperation every lap between now and when the checkered flag will wave in just over 8 minutes' time. But it becomes a little bit of a duel for the race lead. Large stretches of this race were sort of dominated by a 10-car leading pack. Got broken up a little bit when we got to the pit stop phase and we lost Paul Darling and DJ Alessandrini. And a few other little issues through the field have spread them just a little bit. But created some opportunities as well, though. Like Ian Giebler gained a lot of spots since then. Remember, he was running sort of 10th-ish. Now he's into the 6th place. Lounsbury and Wire get inside of the top 10. And Giebler's got a little bit of traffic to worry about at the moment just to see this lap out. Like we talked about, high average speeds, short lap. Doesn't take much before you get into a bit of traffic around here.
I was going to say, Martineau's hoping for a second win, but Soto will be looking for a first one this season, an important one if he wants to defend that championship. And Soto drops out of the way, lets Martineau by this time. So Soto's decided, hey, second place is the place to be with 5 laps to go.
Counting backwards, playing these games early. Okay, Cameron Martineau leads, and Joshua Soto is in second place, with some moves to make later on if possible. Maybe he saw how many laps this is going to go and thought about his fuel situation as well. That's another reason Soto wouldn't want to lead every single lap. Now it's Cameron Martineau to the point. Next car that they're going to lap looks like it could be Scott Drinnell.
Turn one, Gareth Nyland going around. And it was faux
Now
weather at
Foweather's
Nyland.
off. Now
Yeah.
Fox is off. That's
Oh,
third, fourth, fifth. So
what's
it starts
happening?
here. We'll stay with it. Nyland through turn one. Does he get sideways or does he get hit? And then
Maybe you got a little
Foweather
help.
hits the exit curb.
Fox comes by and gets collected by Nyland and then ends up in Fox on the exit. Oh, man. And that's third through fifth wiped out right there. Lounsburg's going to be damn near the podium. Oof, and that's tough if you're Fox.
I feel there was a little telltale sign of smoke in the air that maybe you shouldn't barrel through there, but
Our leaders are still going at
Fox
it.
car in front. This is the race lead with Soto going back to the race lead. Inside line, middle of the road, the way to go to get the lead back from Cameron Martineau. So I think 4 laps to go here. So start counting backwards. So Soto leads now. Then in 1 lap, Martineau leads. Then in 1 lap, Soto leads. Then on the final lap, Martineau leads. I'm
sure that's exactly how it'll go.
We see that kind of gamesmanship happen at Daytona, for example, where no one really wants to lead out of the Le Mans bus stop chicane. At any circuit where there's a really high slipstream, sometimes it benefits you to be in that second place coming towards the final lap. Same could be true of the long Dottingerhöhe straight on the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Scott Grinnell is very experienced and presents no issues to our race leader.
Gareth Nyland has stayed on track after that little accident in turn 1. He's trying to hold off Ian Giebler here for now. What's going to be third place on the podium. That car's a little worse for wear, though, on the front end. I have a feeling that Giebler's going to have the advantage coming up the back straight here. We'll have to see. Heck, he might even have the advantage before they get to Moss.
Yeah, now Fritz has driven off the road. Jared Collins gets a spot. It is all happening in the final 5 minutes from Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Nyland still trying to hold off Ian Giebler. How about Nicholford side by side with Kruger? How about Martineau side by side with Joshua Soto for the race lead? Around the outside, Joshua Soto looks to take the race lead back and does with 3.5 minutes left on the clock. The elbows are out everywhere around 2.43 miles of Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
And Fritz has found himself somehow in the middle of a battle between Nicholford and that's Kruger. Unfortunately for him, so he's running 5th place, but he's got that's 23rd and 22nd battling for their lives back there. Anyway, we'll keep the eyes up at the points paying positions, but boy, oh boy, is it spicy back there.
0.8 of a second now, Joshua Soto to Cameron Martineau. There's a bit of a gap here. Soto might look to extend it. We pointed out, and you can see on hjbc.live that Martineau was the driver who took the least fuel at the pit stop, the shortest lane time. Is it maybe getting a little tough? 0.7 of a second behind coming out of Moss Corner. Now you expect to close up, but look at those rev ranges, those rev lights, shift lights, and listen to the engine a little bit at the end of the straight here.
Yeah, we'll see if he does the thing. It's not a big lift if it's a lift.
No, not massive, but you can do a little bit of saving with your scrub angle, shedding the speed through here. You don't need to lift that much early to save a lot. Rather than getting on the throttle, off the throttle, on the brakes, off the brakes through there, you flow the speed a little more. You don't lose too much time, and you can save a lot of fuel when you've got lots of little braking zones through that part of the lap. The wipers are on for Joshua Soto. The most recent iRacing build did enable rain for this car. They do have wet tyres. We can race in the rain with this car going forward this year. No chance of rain today, though. Joshua Soto still leading this race. Martineau too far back to switch back into the race lead. The white flag will come out next time. They got a bit of traffic ahead. It's Steve Hermitz and Charles Kowalczyk battling for position as well. Things could get very exciting for the lead here, coming towards the final lap. Soto a little bit wide on the way in, parks it at the top of the hill. Martineau is 1 car length back, less than a minute on the clock. The last lap starts next lap.
You hate to see that if you're Martineau right now, because you really wouldn't want Joe Soto to have a draft on the final lap. So making sure that you're in range, it's going to be key. And Martineau's making the move. He's looking outside.
He is. Coming towards the white flag. Martineau looks around the outside. Slots back in line. Has a big slide through the penultimate corner. He's right at the rear bumper of Joshua Soto, who's slowing him up just a little bit. There is the white flag. You see it waved. One more lap. Joshua Soto has a leading margin of 1/10 of a second coming onto this final lap.
Oh, it's going to be good.
Just as they begin to catch a little bit of traffic as well, Martineau shows the nose down the inside of turn 2, but doesn't really want to pass there. You want to pass at the end of the back straight. You can even pass into the final corner here at Mosport. Soto's defending. Martineau has the opportunity to pick up a late apex, stay right at the rear bumper of your race leader, and they are playing chess at over 100 miles an hour, because this is now a tactical game. Not a question of who has the raw speed, but who has the car placement, the racecraft, and their brain working at 7,000 RPM right now. Critical traction zone out of Moss Corner onto the long Andretti straightaway, the back straight here at Mosport. The traffic just in front of Joshua Soto will be weighing heavily on his mind as he thinks about, how do I keep Cameron Martineau behind? And the answer is they're now side by side on the back straight. Who picks up the toe off the traffic? How hard does Soto defend? Soto has the right hand side, trading paint on the door handles, coming into the final sector of the lap. Soto looks to strike back. Martineau looks to hold around the outside to get to the inside of the penultimate corner. Soto won't give up on that either. There's a bit of a slide from both of them to the final corner. Soto dives down the inside, round the outside. Martineau keeps the traction, and he has fuel in the tank to drive it to the checkered flag and win round 5 of the ChampCar iRacing series by 0.3 of a second.
Phenomenal stuff. Ian Giebler's going to cross the line in 3rd, and Jaron Collins is going to get it done for the top 5. He's finished in 4th place as he passes Gareth Nyland going into the S's for the final time. Sean Fritz is holding off the likes of John Nicholford, but more importantly, it looks like Andy Cossack and Colin Lounsbury are going to have their battle going on here as they come to the line. Lounsbury holding off Tim Wire, holding off Cossack, who's now a few seconds behind. And the next battle we got coming to the line is Nick Love and Brandon Renfro. And the two of them are heading into the S's. Close, but I don't think close enough. Martineau showed you got to be real, real close to make this move work the last time through the S's. And sure enough, at white corner, that's going to be Nick Love driving away from Brandon Renfro. Neil Hancock's the second to last guy on the lead lap. He's coming through the S's this time. Smooth, controlled, and 7 seconds clear of our final lead lap driver. That'll be Logan Sennhauser driving that ND Miata to the line and saying Bush as he crosses the line, I think.
Yeah, there was a... maybe
there's Harold there too.
Yeah, Hermits and Kowalczyk here were just ahead of the race leaders as they took the checkered flag, so they see it out. Hermets ends up being the best placed Club Canada driver ahead of John Nicholford in the standings in the end there, and Charles Kowalczyk couldn't catch him. So very exciting close pack racing early on in the race, and a grandstand fireworks finish for the race win. Cameron Martineau officially 0.364 of a second ahead of Joshua Soto. Ian Giebler picking up that 3rd place there from Jared Collins, and a damaged Gareth Nyland in 5th. Sean Fritz, Colin Lounsbury, Tim Wire, Andy Cossack, and Nick Love completing the top 10 there. Like you said, Brandon Renfro, Neil Hancock, Logan Sennhauser, Orlando Herald, Steve Hermits, and Charles Kowalczyk, the last cars on the lead lap there. Scott Grinnell, Brandon West, Stephen Schaefer, and John Nicholford were all 1 lap down. So too was 21st placed Mark Kruger, and Thomas Yankee, and then Lincoln Fox, kind of a late retirement there with the damage. 4 laps down. Simon Fower, 5 laps down, also heavily damaged. And retirements, Bill Salen, DJ Alessandrini, and Paul Darling, as they made no error, made no mistake, but were taken out of this race by circumstances out of their control. And Johnny Sartorelli and David Barkley parked it. Where in the world was Kevin Sandiego? He didn't turn a lap.
I hated it. Thanks. And for our first interview, I think we've got Ian Giebler. Normally
Yes.
an A Miata guy and B Miata guy. Now he's got the ND Miata, and he's got it working pretty good for him today, hey?
I might go buy a lottery ticket after that. I think all the cards fell in my favor there to finish on the podium tonight.
Yeah, start 11th, finish in 3rd. You got to feel pretty good about how that turned out for you.
Yeah, not a bad way to end it. The drivers this season have really stepped up. I mean, there's some high I-rating guys out there that we're getting to race with. Unfortunately, I saw a couple disconnects during the race. And I know DJ from actually karting way back in the day. So, yeah, good friends and good racing out there.
Was he as quick then as he is now?
Oh, yeah.
Sounds about right. Yeah, it looked like it was going to be a quiet race for you. You know, maybe sort of finish in top 5, top 8 kind of thing, and then all of a sudden things just started to unfold for you. I'd say in the second half of that race.
Yeah, that worked out nice. I was staying with the lead pack for a majority of the first half of the stint, and then the guy ahead of me lost them a little bit, and then we both lost the pack, unfortunately. But yeah, and then everything else happened ahead. What actually happened, I'm not even sure.
I was wondering if you got to see it as you came up on it. It looked like a couple of your competitors there got together, Simon Fullweather and that would have been Nyland had a little incident, and they collected Lincoln Fox, and the rest is history, as they say. He finished in 3rd. So feeling good?
Yeah, feeling great. Great racing. Got to draft with Timmy in qualifying. Always good times driving with Tim. So shout out.
Sounds good. You looking forward to the next round at Sebring with the Mustangs?
Yeah, it's been a long time. This felt like forever just between these last 2 races. So it was good to get back in the seat.
Well, we'll see you on July 17th, buddy.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
I would say June 19th, to be honest. But there's a big schedule
more real. Yeah,
in the ChampCar iRacing series. And if you go to forum.champcar.org, you can see it, find out how you can join us. Never a bad time to join us, but not to join us for the racing, but to join us for a chat would be second place, right? Yes. Joshua Soto, great battle all the way through there, all the way to the end, and it's a high average speed track around here. You guys really had your tactical brain on from lap 1 by the looks of things.
Oh yeah. It was full on tactics, basically just stay in line and try not to make any mistakes and things like that. It was a pretty good race racing with DJ Alessandre and Paul, but unfortunately they got disconnected somehow.
And good battle for you and Cameron Martineau towards the end. Talk us about tire and fuel strategy, because we saw a wide range of when people stopped and what they opted to do, and then the weather, which probably was predicted to be cloudy, ended up being quite sunny, hot track.
Yeah, tire and fuel strategy for me was I knew that I was running behind a couple cars, so I would have to get a little bit more fuel than I usually would get. But for tires, there wasn't enough time in the pit window for fuel and tires, so just decided not to get any tires, and it ended up running around the same lap time, so it didn't make too much of a difference.
Well, overall, a pretty good race for you. I'm sure you would have loved to steal the win at the end there, but in a 1v1 boxing match, only one driver can win.
Oh yeah. Cameron did a great job towards the end. We got a little bit of contact there But it was overall a great battle.
Well, it's the first of the summer leg of races with a chance for you to win even more Champ Car prizes than you have previously. Hopefully, we'll see you for some of them, and you can put on more great racing. Really strong performance from you today. If it had been you on the top step of the podium, I think it would have been equally deserved.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll definitely be back for more league races. Oh yeah, thank you guys for the broadcast and everything. It's a great league.
Awesome, Josh. Good to chat. We'll see you around. Best of luck.
All right, see you.
Devin, it means that there's one driver left standing by to have a chat with us. Went toe-to-toe with Joshua Soto and came away with the win.
Yeah, not a lot of guys can say that, but Cameron Martineau can, and then he puts another notch on the wall. That's 2 wins for you this season.
Yeah, it is. And hats off to Josh. He is an incredible driver. Drove amazing the entire race. Really didn't put a foot wrong at all. I made a bold move and somehow made it stick. So hats off to him, because I think it could have very well been his win as well. So very, very enjoyable race.
As you're getting down to those final laps, we were wondering up in the booth here, is he counting? Is he going, well, Soto has this lap off of the next lap, and then he has the next lap? What were your thoughts with 5 laps to go?
Yeah, so I kind of, coming out of the pits, I knew Josh was going to close right up on me. And then I was a little short on fuel, so I was fuel saving behind him. And then I kind of said, okay, at 5 laps to go, I'll start probing, see where, I was observing the entire time of where I was catching up to him, where he was catching me, or gapping me rather. And from there it was, okay, let's start probing him, just seeing what he's going to do, where he's going to defend, and how. And then, so that kind of gave me an idea on what to do near the end. So it wasn't necessarily, I was kind of in the back of my head trying to figure out, okay, because the draft is so strong on the back straight, if I pass him, he's going to pass me right back. So I was trying to do that math in my head of, okay, if I try to pass him on this lap, then is he going to get me on the last lap, or vice versa? So there's definitely some strategy going on in my head during those final laps.
What was impressive, a little bit of battling there, and for a moment at the start of the race, it looked like it was going to be an 8-way battle. Did you get a view of any of the sort of drama that went on there in the middle of the field?
Not so much. I was in the back there, so I did see that big group. So I did see some of the jostling that was going around. I saw Paul go off. And unfortunate that him and DJ had that disconnect, because it very well could have been all 4 of us battling for that win, with DJ and Paul. And yeah, I did kind of see some of the drama in front, but for the most part, I think we didn't really get, at least in the top 5 there, we really didn't get broken up until the pit stop phase. But I did see that there must have been some drama behind, because I saw that Gareth and Sean dropped considerably, and I was definitely trying to watch that gap, see if it was, coming down, or seeing if it was going to be a 2 or a 4 car battle. But Mosport is one of those tracks that it's great for racing, especially in small cars like this, and anyone from in the top 10, as long as you stay in the pack, can win.
Well, speaking of small cars, we're going to be driving a big car next time, and I see on your resume you're the 2021 Season 1 FR 500S champion. So I got to think you're looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. That is definitely my old calling card, and that car is so much fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, and got to break out the H pattern and practice my heel towing up to this point, because for sure I'm not going to use paddles for that round. Definitely gotta row the gears.
Sounds good, and I respect that. Well, a quality race and a quality finish. It was a pleasure to watch you today, Cameron. Anyone you need shout out?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a pleasure to race with all these guys. Just give a big shout out to Josh for the clean race there. Samantha Tan Racing, Trailberg Matt, and all my friends and family that really cheer me on and support me from home. So And thank you, ChampCar, for giving us sim racers this opportunity to show our stuff and get an opportunity to get a chance at some ChampCar bucks. That's why I'm here.
I think you'll do just fine in a real car. Let's see how it looks in 6 more months.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
So Cameron Martineau, his second time a race winner in 2024's ChampCar iRacing series. It moves him one step closer in his hunt for the championship, and the $2,000 of ChampCar prize attached to that. But 25 other drivers today moved a step closer to their chance at winning some ChampCar prize money and getting one step closer to taking their dream racing wheel to wheel in the ChampCar Endurance Series. 25 drivers completed more than half of the race, and they're the first names in the hat for the prize draw after round 8. Had to do the maths in my head there. I got there in the end. So a great race, all things considered. Super close, super competitive as we made our trip north to Canada in the ChampCar iRacing Series. You'll see us next on ChampCar Live and HJBC for round 6, the Ford Mustang FR 500S at Sebring International Raceway, June 19th. Not far away at all, so you won't have to wait too long for more ChampCar iRacing Series action. In the meanwhile, congratulations go to Cameron Martineau. Go to forum.champcar.org to find all the information if you want to join us. I've been David Haynes with Devin Peters, Michael Derby, and the race winner was Cameron Martineau.